Hello, welcome to GavD Tries to Repair. I found this CPC 464 Plus in a skip just over a year ago. I'm checking it out here to see if it's going to work, if it's going to power up. I looked up on the internet, it takes 5 volts, I think centre positive. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm just testing that connection, just testing the power supply that I've got at home, see if it's suitable.
Right, take my word for it, that's 5 volts. Is there a power button? There is. Okay, marvellous. So what have we got on the side here? We've got joystick ports. I have to detach this. What are these? Ethernet port, or what looks like. Audio port, extension port. Just powered it up to drain the caps. So it's a bit grimy, but I don't see any reason it can't work, because it just powered up, right? And I've got these joystick ports, and I got me, I don't know what that is, I'll have to look it up. Right, SCART cable arrived, so let's give this a switch on. So we get like something happening. If I pull the cable out and sort of wiggle it, so I'm putting it halfway in, so I'm presumably, you hear that? Different positions, I'm getting different things, but I think the first thing to do, I'm going to have this apart and just see what's going on around there. Maybe there's some bad solder around that connector.
Here I start to take apart the Amstrad CPC 464 Plus. I think there's 5 or 6 screws. Thankfully there's no screws under the rubber feet. It took me a little while to find a suitable screwdriver bit, but once I did I was away. So I take out all the screws, I put them in a little baggie to the side, and then I've got these plastic tabs. I'm using a plastic spudger, so I don't use metal and crack it. Plastic's a bit softer. There's one on the front, a little tab on the front, but then it comes apart. Then there are 2 little cables I found. One is the power light and the other is the power switch, so I disconnected those. And then I took out the keyboard, which proved to be an interesting decision a little later. Then I was starting to detach the tape players, ground and various things like that. I was just trying to get at what's the simplest thing I can check. I wanted to start following voltages around to see why. I wanted to know why I wasn't getting any output. Now I now know why I didn't get any output, and if you know about Amstrads you're screaming right now. But I was walking through this bit by bit and figuring it out as I went. There's the main board. It's actually pretty clean. There's no like duff caps that I could see on it. Just having a look at it there, and I pulled up some schematics on my Mac to have a look. I unscrewed anything I could find to unscrew. There was a few like, adjusting screws that I tried twiddling with, and I still couldn't get any output. So yeah, at this point I was bridging with my screwdriver. There we go. I started bridging with some crocodile clips the power switch, just so it was on all the time. And then I think I go to my components bin and find a jumper, put the jumper on so that it just bridges that at all times. And now I'm just testing some voltages. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm not an expert. Never copy anything I do. I don't know what I'm doing. If you burn your house down, please don't blame me. I don't know what I'm doing at all, as evidenced by these videos. But yeah, I just wanted to check that the chips were getting power, and then I checked a couple of these kind of websites of what's where, make sure I'm getting the right power. But the problem was way dumber than that. So the Plus system, half the operating system, is actually not on the computer, it's on a cartridge, which is like a copy protection kind of thing. So I discovered that you need a Plus system cartridge to even boot the thing, which came as a real surprise to me. Like half the computer's on the cartridge. I've never heard of that on a computer.
Great success. With the cartridge installed, it's booted. It wouldn't boot without the keyboard though. But yeah, it's booted.
Here's some footage of my dad playing Burning Rubber. He happened to be here on the weekend while I was working on this, and Dad worked in IT repair for many years. Well, so that was the Amstrad up and going. I'd bought this cartridge, this Burning Rubber cartridge, but how do I get to, for want of a better word, the operating system? Well, it turns out I bought the wrong cartridge. That's literally just a game like you'd get for the GX4000 console, of which the CPC shares circuitry. This yellow one is the one, so I had to buy another one. So I'm going to give this a shot now and see if I can get to basic and run a few commands, and then maybe save and load a couple of bits to tape and see where it's going. I suspect the tape will need a tune-up. I suspect it will need grease in and new rubber band, whatever it's called. Find out.
Looking at the pins, they look good. We'll check this in. And power up. That's powered up. Let's get the TV going. And select AV. Oh, yes, boy! Amstrad Basic or burning rubber? Okay, so if I hit copy, it's as if I've retyped it. Very cool. Right, here we go. Press record and play and hit any key. Alright, that's the first two. That's not letting me. No, the record's not going down, is it? Don't know why. Play works. That's all works. Pause works. Interesting. Wonder if that's physical, mechanical, or electronic. Just doesn't seem to be wanting to go. I wonder. Because we've got a couple of cables, we've got the power button, the power switch. It shouldn't be a big deal. The only thing I can think is it's slightly out of position. Alright, I'll try a reassembly.
At this point I elected to reassemble the Amstrad, believing that perhaps the tape mechanism needed some pressure put upon it by the case, so I couldn't just like drop the cassette in there. So I got all the little bits out of the way, I reassembled it with all the tabs, I didn't bother screwing it in. It took me a while to realise I had to take the cartridge out. I shouldn't have to, it's part of the computer. Got the cassette in, very simple 10 say hello world, print hello world. With pressure on the right parts of the casing, I was able to get the record and play button down. It took a bit of doing. So yeah, something's misaligned, but then it saved block 1, look. Saving hardware block 1, the cassette mech was rolling, and then it had saved.
My software. The check's not looking too hot. I think this cassette mech is a bit misaligned, but... Right, let's rewind it. Okay, if I go 10 prints, HHH and then list, so it's print HHH, right? And now I've got to load HW. Right, so I'm going to try to load that software. Just play. There you go. And press any key. It should be loading now. So there's always that bit of spool at the start of a tape that's not actually tape, it's not actually magnetic. So let's see if we can read it. Loading, HW block 1. Ready. Okay, now we go list. 10 print HW. It works. It works.
So what we have here is an Amstrad CPC 464 Plus that appears to be in strong working order. Now the cassette mech's a bit misaligned. You have to sort of lean on the plastic, hit it in the right places, a bit temperamental, but it saves and it loads software. I just happen to have some brand new blank cassettes for a heavy metal project I've been working on and never finished, so they've come in useful. So yeah, as far as I can tell, this thing is operational. I mean, the joysticks work, I can play games on it. I need to get one that's got the right button mapping for the Atari, because the ones I've got are for Sega and I think they're slightly different. So the next thing I think I will do is get some replacement kit for the tape mech, which comes with like lubricants and a belt and this kind of stuff. And I think I can tighten that up. And I'm also going to try to get hold of a proper Amstrad joystick. Yeah, lovely little system, quite fun to program on. Might give it a go at some machine code. I've got a website. Remember those? gavd.co.uk.